Hey everybody, Randy Patterson here with Boomerosity, and I have a special treat here for you. It's somebody you may not have heard of unless you're from the Phoenix area. She's known as a local entertainer there. She's worked with a lot of different people, knows a lot of different people we all know. But her name is Cathy Rankin, and she has come out with a new single, her first single, entitled Now You've Gone. And it's a tribute to Russia's Neil Peart and her late nephew. Amazing song, amazing video. You can watch it if you're on my website page where this is also embedded. You can look on the page and see the performance video there. It's amazing. Very, very good. The song by itself stands alone quite well, but the video is just icing on the cake. So check it out. But the people in the band that you might recognize in there, David Ellefson, formerly of Megadeth, Ken Mary, he's been with Alice Cooper, Flotsam and Jetsam, Great White, and Fifth Angel. So, and just an amazing, amazing drummer. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention about Cathy too, you'll know her as a co-host of the Metal Hall of Fame induction ceremonies with Eddie Trunk. She's also the hostess of Bubba Bash. And like I said a minute ago, she's also a well known Phoenix area entertainer, amazing voice, amazing talent. But I got to meet with her, and you're about to see it here on this interview with Ken Mary and John Bronson, who, oh, by the way, he owned Bronson Guitar Works over in Scottsdale for you Phoenician friends of mine. Check them out. But anyway, I got to talk to the three of them about this song, how it came together, the story behind it, some pretty cool behind the scenes stories there, really fun stuff. And I just can't say enough about these people individually and as a band. And as you'll see, it's just a lot of fun chatting with all three of them. So if you would listen to it in its entirety, also watch the music video in its entirety. Don't skip through it. Go from beginning to end. And then when you're all done, would you please share both with your friends and also hit like on there? That helps both of us out. Subscribe to both of us. That's helpful too. And neither one costs you a dime. And then, of course, share it with your friends, like I said. So without any further ado, here is my first of what I hope are many more interviews to come with Cathy Rankin, Ken Mary, and John Bronson. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerosity. Take care.
Hello.
Hello. Where are you clicking in from?
I am clicking in for Scottsdale.
Ah, okay. I grew up in Phoenix and in Glendale. Uh,
Nice.
I
I did too.
I graduated from Moon Valley.
No way.
Way, way. Just a couple miles up the road from where Alice Cooper graduated from the dreaded Cortez, right?
Oh yeah, I remember Portsmouth. So I grew up on 7th Avenue in Northern.
Oh, Sunny Slope area.
Yeah, right. But right as you go on into Sunny Slope. My sister actually went to Sunny Slope, and we were there for a while, and then moved back east.
Mhm.
But Arizona was home. I was born in Scottsdale, so.
Ah, okay, good deal. You have worked with a lot of people I've interviewed. I don't ever consider myself much of a metal interviewer, but then I started looking at who all the inductees were to the Metal Hall of Fame, and I was stunned. I've interviewed 11 of them. So,
Oh, crazy. Yeah. I know people, it's funny with the Metal Hall of Fame, people they get all wound. Some of the metal fans get wound up if you don't stick to strictly metal, but they really recognize all the rock and metal related genres. Like metal is just a subgenre of rock
right.
in their minds. And and so they'll recognize metal, they'll recognize classic rock, anything that's rock related and not too far, they're not going to do anything poppy or anything like that.
Right.
But so like when they recognized Lou Graham with Foreigner, some people were like, hey, he's not metal. But it's like all the metal guys, were influenced heavily by him. And so
Absolutely.
they do get some of those guys, some more the classic rock guys, but
Well, Lou
they are.
would be closer to metal than Janet Jackson would be to rock and roll, and she's a
Right.
go
Well,
figure.
that's why they did the Metal Hall of Fame, because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so many people just think it's a joke because, they it's so much of it is not rock, so
Right. Well, and I feel I'm kinda torn because for the people that deserve to be in there and they make it, I don't wanna detract from that
right,
accomplishment, but
right,
then, you know, you get ABBA in there and it's kinda like, "What the heck?" So
right, and I love ABBA, but
I
it's
do
like
too, but
but then it's like, have a don't call it Rock and Roll of Hall of Fame, like, have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that's really rock, and then if you wanna have something for pop music, then do all the pop genres, like disco
agreed.
and new wave and all that, so and then rap, I mean, how do you even put that in there? It's
Well, and
just
they're sitting on a pile of money to build a rap and hip hop hall of fame with nothing.
exactly.
And you have the blues hall of fame that's got this
Yes.
real dinky place, and they built what they built with for $2.5 million. And I forget how much money the rap and hip hop hall of fame sitting on, and they have for years, and don't even know where they're going to build or occupy
Yeah.
or whatever. So
Yeah.
I've already run off. Uh,
Just
Ah, how nice.
wow, I must be
he's probably
terrible.
getting coffee.
No, I was getting my high quality headphones.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
Nice.
so, well, thank you everybody for for joining me today. This is going to be a blast, I think. Now, I know Kathy's in the Phoenix area. Where are you guys at?
Same. We're all in the Phoenix area.
Oh, wow, man, you're going to make
yep.
me homesick now. I told Kathy I grew up in Phoenix. I went to Moon Valley, and
Oh, nice.
first part of my so-called adult life was in the Phoenix area, and then I'm in East Tennessee now, up in the Smoky Mountains. So, but great. This is going to be fun. I want to thank all three of you for being on here. Are we waiting for anyone else? Nope.
David
Okay.
is on tour in Europe right now.
Must be rough, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. He's working hard.
so one more thing I was going to mention about Phoenix. You guys know who Dave Pratt is, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Good.
on
Sure.
I
his.
actually work with him a lot.
Oh, okay. I'm on his Star Worldwide Network too. So that's
Oh,
the
okay.
place where I'm distributed. So Dave's a great
Nice.
guy, good friend of mine, and love him dearly. And what a tremendous story he has, doesn't he?
He
So
has a great story, and that's funny you say that because he just saw the news today about the song. It got picked up on Blabbermouth, and he just commented. Ken saw it too, and we'll probably do something with him on Star Worldwide Network. So that's funny. What a coincidence.
well, I think he's going to start rolling out a show again through there. So
He
it's
is.
that should be a lot of fun to watch and listen to. And
I
who
know.
knows
I've
what's
been
going to
waiting
happen
for him to do
there,
it.
right?
Yeah.
So love the song. Absolutely love the song. I love the video. And I guess first thing to ask is I've read this story, but for people who will be hearing about it for the first time, well, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's do this. Guys, we know that Kathy's the lead singer. She's the billboard for the song. Tell where you fit into this song and the album, and then I'll have Kathy tell a little bit about herself, and then we'll get into the song itself. Okay. So,
Okay, you go, John.
No. Oh, no, Ken. You go right ahead.
No, I
I want
insist.
you
I
guys to
insist.
go first.
Okay. I'm just going to be building Ken up here a lot. So get ready.
Oh, don't
Well,
act humble now, John.
I played this tiny little role. It was all Ken. No, we've known each other for a long time, Ken and I, since the early 90s when Ken was a solo artist, believe it or not. Great singer, Ken is, and he was a great songwriter. He still is, obviously. Uh, he has not lost his mojo, apparently, from this song. So you should check that out sometime, his solo stuff. I don't know if it's out there, Ken, probably. I hope so.
I
And
don't
his
think
Uh,
so.
his Fifth Angel stuff
well,
is
yeah,
killing.
obviously. It's
Yeah.
just it's different when that drummer has to come up and lead the pack and start singing with no
Oh,
sticks in
yeah.
front of him. Yeah, that was a great thing to witness. So I've known Ken a long time, and obviously Kathy and I play in local bands and stuff. here together. We have one of those corporate type of bands, you know, money making machine type of thing.
Cover band.
Cover band, yeah. Without saying cover band. So we've been working on stuff together, you know, and it's easier if Cathy tells you the story how she convinced Ken, wrangled Ken into this whole thing. But
I
she
just want to
wrangled.
point out. I just want to point out real quick that I have the correct shirt on this time.
You do.
Oh,
And
I
I
have
great.
do
the
too.
correct shirt. So
John is
I
one of these things is not like the other.
Hey, well, I had to,
You got the chemical schedule there, right? So
well,
exactly of rush.
it is. It's brushed periodically. So yeah.
Which is wonderful.
that's right.
Well, guys, all I have is my fake 1981 or 82 Signals tour shirt I bought in a back alley when I went to the concert from these very sketchy gentlemen, and it's super blurry, so you probably wouldn't be able to read that it actually says Rush on there. And then I have an R40 that I for some reason bought a small, so I figured you didn't want to see that. So let's endorse the amp company.
There you go.
Partner.
Cool.
Yeah, they're good. That's what I actually use this on the recording, some of it. Yep, I did. That was a lot of the solo parts. The haunting part was a result of the Bogner Ecstasy amp. It was squealing. I think it's
That's one of my favorite parts. We'll have to tell about that.
Yeah, it might be at like 4:15 in the song or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I should know this.
There's a little guitar thing that happened during the making him recording, and it was an accident. It was like one of those things, and he didn't hear it until after he went back and listened. And me and the guy Thomas Laufenberg, who was helping him with that recording part, we were like, no, leave it in. It was our favorite part, and it's just this kind of, I don't know what you would describe that note as. He says it was like feedback, but it was just very strange how it happened. And I
It was
leave it in.
because the amp was in the other room, the speaker. So it was. I don't really know how we made that happen, but it sounded like I was playing at Wembley Stadium with a whole wall of Marshalls.
Cool.
And it was very, it was magical. We laughed, but it's a haunting note, which is fitting, so we left it in.
Maybe you had some supernatural help there. Who knows?
Well,
there was a lot of that going on.
There were a few weird things that did happen in the making of this song. So
guitars were falling off walls, picture frames, all kinds of things were going on during this.
I had some weird owl sightings, not to get to, and I'm not a foo-foo kind of person, but there was some kind of cool things that did happen in the making of the song.
Very nice.
So back to how this whole masterpiece started was Ken K. Mary. Basically, somehow in his head laid down this epic over 6-minute drum
masterpiece.
Thank you. I couldn't place the word, but it's definitely a masterpiece of drumming extravaganza. And that's how it started. We built the song. I was picturing more of a ballad, sappy, slow, and we morphed it somehow over a while, few changes here and there, into what it is today. And it's totally epic, I think. But Ken's drums definitely were the basis of the whole thing, the foundation. And we started working on that. Kind of started out as a keyboardish song, and then it turned into walls of guitars and David Ellefson on the bass playing with his fingers, which was amazing. He nailed that. And then, of course, Cathy came in with that a voice of an angel, we like to say.
Okay.
No, we actually say power vocals a lot. She came in with her power vocals and it all just came together. But yes, definitely Ken was a huge building block of the whole beginning of it. The foundation wouldn't have happened without his changing. Oh, I didn't even mention the lyrics part. That was more of a Kathy thing. Kathy, you take over from here and you say
Or let
how.
Ken, no,
Yeah.
let Ken
Oh,
talk.
Ken, go right ahead.
Go, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Ken,
right.
Ken,
Well,
you played with some little garage band dude there in Phoenix for a while, didn't you? By was it Alice somebody or something?
yeah, Alice Cooper. Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome, by the way.
Yep.
Incredible talent and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee and all of that, which still kind of irritates me because if they would have kept to their old rules, I would have been inducted because I recorded and toured with them. And then they changed the rules, and I think we know how much everyone loves the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Don't even get me started. So,
They
We
have
were
such a
just talking about it.
great reputation. But anyway, Kathy was kind enough to do an interview with Fifth Angel, which just released an album on Nuclear Blast at that time. Nuclear Blast is probably the biggest metal label in Europe, and she was kind enough to actually, I think, did we use Dave Pratt's facility, Kathy?
We did. That's right.
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, so we actually, she got us into Dave Pratt's facility. We did this awesome interview, and when we finished it, I just, I was so grateful that she did all that. Was able to put all that together for us. I just said, hey, if there's anything I can ever do, just let me know. And she said, well, I have these lyrics, and I have this song I'm starting. It's really about Neil Peart, which of course is next to my heart because Neil's one of my top 3 drummers of all time.
mhm.
For me personally, a huge influence on my playing. And so she sent the lyrics over, and I was like, wow, and it actually inspired me to start composing, a piece. And we talked about it and what she was envisioning. And it sounded like it was going to be more of a ballad, which, we definitely had that element in there. And then I tried to insert some things that I felt would help Rush fans kind of identify with the song and also be reminded how great Rush is. So that was really the idea of the song was really to pay tribute to Rush and specifically Neil.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Neil was the Neil was kind of the glue of this whole thing because he was such an influence for like Ken said, for Ken, and huge. I'm a huge Rush fan, and people know that. And kind of, it's weird. I just kind of got known for being this big Rush fan just because, the whole joke is there's not a lot of female Rush fans, which there actually are. But so Ken and I started talking about that. That's just how it kind of all started. And then it turned out it was a more personal story for me, which I'm sure you read about. And of course, I knew I wasn't going to have anybody else do guitars but John because he and I know each other's music so much. And yeah, the chemistry was just there. And Ken was so gracious to jump on board and do this because it was a poem to begin with. And this was my first time ever trying to do an original song. And so Ken really was an absolute mentor in helping me transform it into an actual song.
Mhm.
And when he came back musically, just like John said with that, I mean, within one day, he had like this whole drum thing mapped out. And it was just, I remember getting it. I was like, whoa, it kind of freaked me out because I was like, I didn't expect it to be that kind of song. Like John said, I was thinking in my head a ballad, but then I just fell in love with it, and it just evolved from there.
Wow. Well, when it's something is so has connected with you personally at a distant level, and and I'm referring to the Neil connection there. Obviously, that when it's someone who has such a huge place on the soundtrack of our lives, that in and of itself is pretty impactful. But when you add the extra layer of losing your nephew and all that, and how that just kind of meshes nicely together. It probably felt like it took a lot out of you emotionally, did it not?
It did. It was, the biggest thing was the thing I kept wrestling with through the whole process was how do I do a song that's about loss, but make it so that it's not going to bring people down, and yet I wanted to appropriately honor my nephew and Neil because I know it's so close to so many people's hearts. And but I didn't want it to be something where people were going to be depressed or where it was going to be on a down note. And so that's why I felt like the ending that Ken came up with to me was so awesome because we started out like in the beginning of the journey of loss and exploring those emotions in the ballad part. And then it turns into this just really powerful, kind of uplifting, nostalgic ending that Rush fans could love, but that also made you feel hopeful and like, you know, shows the beauty of what our loved ones leave us and that they're still very much alive. It's just in a different way. And so, for me personally, thinking of my nephew, there was a lot of times when just Ken writes so melodically, anyways, and John's very melodic on guitar. So there, it already had this element of like an orchestra, and just it was just really beautiful. And so to me, that ending was like a choir of angels,
Mhm.
waiting and welcoming my nephew. And I really felt that. I really felt that was a real thing. And and so I kind of came up with some little vocal things because you have this 2-minute ending of music and no vocals, after the first half of the song. And I thought, well, we got to come back in with something. And so that was like that high note at the end and just these kind of choiry vocals sprinkled in the ending, so that we could come back in with this kind of exclamation point. So that's how that all occurred. But really quickly, I'll just say, my brother, this was his story more than anyone's because it was his son that died in a car accident at the age of
Mm.
18. And that's how Neil
Mm.
lost his daughter at the age of 19.
Mhm.
And so that was the connection. Neil had written about it he had written about healing from that in his book Ghostwriter. And I gave that book to my brother
Mm.
as a way to just try and relate to what he was going through. And so it was just all very interconnected. And my brother loved the song. He actually, it's been enough years now where he can talk about it, and he actually texted me this morning and he saw the video for the first time and he absolutely was thrilled with it. And I think I was telling John this morning, I think it's really cathartic for him because one of the things you don't ever want to have happen is you don't want people to move on with their lives and forget that person. And so I think for my brother, this is the part where he can be happy about his memories and he wants us to remember Christian's name. So, and I know people feel the same way about Neil. I
Mm.
get Rush fans emailing me and messaging me all the time that they just think about Neil every day. And I do as a fan. So,
Mhm. Well, I mean, I think in your mind, you had two rock stars together. Your nephew is a rock star in your family, and Neil was a rock star to the world,
yeah.
Yep.
and and it's all tied together with music, which is the great unifier anyway.
Yeah.
And so, were there, aside from the fact that the song started out as a ballad, I'll call it a basic ballad even, and it progressed into this beautiful symphonic rock, were there other surprises that came up in the making of the song, recording of this song, as well as the video? Because I mean, the video to me, referring to another adoptive Phoenician, Stevie Nicks, had kind of a Stevie Nicks vibe to it, and
Yeah.
I
uh, uh,
love that.
yeah, so all of it was just, I mean, masterfully put together. And I'm not saying that to patronize you guys; it really is. I was blown away by the quality of everything about it, the sound, the video, you name it. It was rock solid all the way through. But were there any surprises for the three of you in putting this all together?
I can answer that if you want.
Sure.
Yeah. Then I'll say something too, but you go first.
Yeah, there actually were a few surprises. I think first and foremost, just the chemistry of everybody working together. You just have no idea how everything is going to work together when you're dealing with I hadn't recorded with John before. I hadn't recorded with Cathy before. So, you don't really know what's going to happen. And it was really amazing that the chemistry just worked so well. Everybody worked so well together. David came in and just did an amazing job. And this is something I didn't even know. Like, I know he loved Rush, but could he play something like Rush? I've never heard him play anything like that before. So when he came in the studio and he's, yeah, I'm going to use my fingers. I'm like, okay, cool. And so that was a surprise. I had never heard David Ellefson play like that before. And I was surprised by John. John came up with just incredible guitar parts that I wasn't expecting, that really enhanced the song and took it to an amazing place. And then Cathy, her vocals, Cathy, had you recorded any songs previously? I don't know. Did you do any recording?
I have done a couple of things, but nothing like this.
Okay, so again, I hadn't recorded with Cathy. I didn't know what her level of studio experience was, and so I had no idea what to expect on the vocal track, which, in my opinion, is really the most important part of a song. And to me, it's as a producer, I feel like it's about 70% of a song, because basically the public latched on to those vocals, and the vocals have to have emotion and feeling. And Cathy did just such an amazing job, and really, brought forth like an incredible vocal performance, which you hear on the song. And to me, that's the part that really makes the song. And that was surprising, just because I really hadn't worked with her before either. So I'd say all the way around, it actually was surprising all the way around.
Yep.
I'm glad
I'd agree with that.
glad you have such high expectations, Ken.
Well,
Well,
you're
it's
you're
not
in the
that I didn't
doghouse
have high
now, Ken.
expectations. It's just you don't know. You don't know
No,
until you start working. And
yeah.
then,
Yeah.
when we started working and everything was starting to, take shape, that's when I really went, wow, this is really gonna be something special.
Yeah.
Well, I
I,
think
I I agree
work
with all of
ethic,
them.
I'm sure, comes into play on all that, on all of your parts too, does it not?
What'd you say?
Work ethic and the
Oh, yeah.
studio, that has to come into play because, you know, what if you don't know, if somebody's not dedicated to getting the time, getting the work done, and studio time's so expensive,
Oh, yeah.
it can turn into quite a disaster very quickly, even if everybody in the room is world renowned and the best of their fields. It would be, if there's no work ethic, then it's totally hosed up. So
Yeah.
I to your point, Ken, I see what you're saying there. It could have gone either way.
Yeah.
What were you going to say,
And
Kathy?
well, I was gonna to kind of echo what Ken said and what you're saying is, well, first of all, David and Ken and of course John are all great people. And I think when you work with people that you like and that are just great human beings, in addition to great artists, I mean that's why they're successful. And so I just think that's part of what, made that chemistry. They're just great people. And then all of us coming into this with a real heart for it. I think you can't fake that. And so I think that all conveyed in the music, in the lyrics, in the performance. I think it was just something very authentic and just very organically happened. I will say one of the big surprises for me was, and I have to mention him there. So in the making of the video, I I had a vision of what I wanted this to be, and the reason I did I didn't even set out to make it like Stevie Nicks, but I had to have the right mood for this kind of a story. And I wanted it to be really personal, to really convey that emotion, like I was talking directly to the audience. And I had a hard time finding anybody available to do the video. And I went through a few people that I knew because I've done a lot of video work in town, and I was reaching out to people I knew, and a couple people were kind of committed and then last minute couldn't do it or whatever. And somebody just said, "Hey, this kid, he's young, he works for me. Just he likes Rush. Try reaching out to him. He might be the right fit for you." And his name is Brett Klein. And I got on the phone with him, because I was running out of time, and I got on the phone with him, and he is 27 years old, and we had one conversation, and I got chills because he absolutely understood the vision. This kid knew more about Rush than I did. And I'm like, how do you know this music? And his dad was like a huge fan. So instantly that we just made this connection, and he wanted to do it, and he had the passion for it. It was one of those things again that was meant to be. And so Brett Klein directed this video, and he did such a fantastic job. And his wife, Natalie, happens to be an editor. And so she edited the whole thing. And I
Wow.
just can't tell you what a surprise that was. And I think this kid, I call him a kid, but he's so talented, and I think he's gonna go places and do things. And so I was just really grateful that he stepped in and took on a project. He had no clue how we were gonna do this, and he really just pulled off an amazing video. So
That's what makes things like this so much more impactful. Is you can't. I mean, I don't think anything happens by mistake. I
I
really.
agree.
I
Okay,
think
yep.
I think the right things happen at the right time, and yeah, there can be some bad things that happen at the bad time, worst of times. But I think when people's hearts are right, um, the positive can happen, and the positive can come out of the negative. But
100%.
yeah, so but all of this just sounds so what serendipitous, and
Yeah.
intended and personal and destined, and that's what makes things like this so much fun. So where was the video filmed?
Well, Ken was great. He stepped up because we didn't know where to have the full band shoot. And again, we didn't have a lot of time to pull the video part together. We
Mhm.
we were running out of time. We had to meet certain deadlines. And so Ken has a great studio here in Mesa, Arizona, and he had this whole big space that we were able to get, that he has shot some of his own stuff before when he needs to record drum stuff. And so we shot one day there where we were able to get David Ellefson in, which was awesome because he was in between tours.
Mhm.
And that way we could shoot the whole band, because I really wanted the musicians to be highlighted because they're just, each of them did such incredible work. And then the other part of it, all my stuff was shot separately at a studio called Painted Tiger Studio, which is here in Arizona also. And a lot of people, I think Kent's shot there before with Flotsam and Jetsam, and David's probably shot there before. A lot of musicians and film crews are using Painted Tiger Studios. It's a really cool, it has all kinds of different rooms and props and everything you could imagine. So
Very cool. Before I forget, I just thought of another name you guys might know. Do you guys know Greg Chason from
Oh yeah.
Badlands?
oh yeah.
Yeah, good
Yep.
friend of mine. I've interviewed him for the last couple of bands he was in, not Badlands because Boomerosity wasn't there, but great guy. When I was in
Yep.
Phoenix last, which was a couple
Yeah.
years ago for a class reunion, I went by the store there and had a great visit with him. He's a super
Oh
guy.
yeah.
But
Yeah. Guy.
so you
He
got this
is.
great song. I gotta ask, is there going to be an album or an EP at least that to kind of add some more legs to this?
That's a dangerous question. Ken, do you want to answer that one?
We're in the works. I'm
Well,
answering. We're in the works.
yeah, we're actually we're looking at some songs right now, so
We
we'll
are.
see how everything goes.
Very cool.
Poor Ken. I kind of blindsided him on this whole thing, and kind of was like, "Hey, you want to produce this song? And hey, by the way, have you thought of a follow-up song?"
Hey,
So
how about a follow-up
it's like he's
album?
in quicksand. It's like he's in quicksand. He can't get out.
Oh yeah.
So I know that you guys had to share this a little early. I know it dropped when? Yesterday or today? It was today, wasn't it?
Up to the song and video launched on the 29th.
Yeah. So yesterday. No,
Yeah,
2 days ago.
day
2 days
before.
ago.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And today, like literally, I woke up and my email was full with. I mean, we're getting picked up in Blabbermouth and some other articles, and so it's the reaction has been just. I couldn't have imagined it a better reaction because my fear was, gosh, Rush fans are picky.
Hmm.
And, anytime you're invoking Neil's name, you better get it right
Better
because they'll
step
let you
up. Yeah.
know if you don't. And of course, I knew Ken's part was going to be.
Oh,
I didn't have any question about Ken's
for
drums.
sure. For
But
sure.
here comes this girl who nobody knows, and she thinks she can, do a tribute to Neil Peart. And I was really concerned about that. But again, I just go back to, okay, my intention was good and our hearts were good. And I prayed a lot about this song. And the reaction has been awesome. Rush fans have been, honestly, I read the comments on the YouTube video and like they bring me to tears because so many people, and that's what I love about Rush fans. You start talking about it and you feel like you know them already and they feel like family and they're sharing their own stories, which is what I personally love. People are sharing like how they got into Rush, what Neil's lyrics meant in their life, how he saved them from, different things. And it's just really cool to hear people's stories. Some people are sharing their own stories of loss and but people are connecting and that's all I wanted.
Well,
And
there's a
from a
lot of
musical perspective, one of the things that I think is really cool is that there's so many little Easter eggs that are in the song and in the video, and the fans are really picking up on those too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're picking up on things that I didn't think anyone would pick
Mhm.
up on. Like I
Yeah.
played this drum groove in the verse that's kind of a known kind of groove from a Rush song, and somebody pointed it out. Hey, I heard that, and I was like, wow. Just the fact that they're picking up all these little Easter eggs, which is really cool because that's really what the intention was, is just to make it enjoyable for the fans.
Yeah.
with so many rockers living there in the valley, and I, I know they come and go. I know Rob Alford was there, and
Mhm.
of course Alice, and all sorts of people. Have you heard any feedback on this from those guys who may or may not have known Neil?
Not yet. Not yet. It's only day 2, but I know Dave Pratt is neighbors with Alice Cooper. So,
Hmm.
and there's a well-known promoter in town, Danny Zalisco, who's been
Yep,
in business.
Danny's a great guy. Yeah,
Yeah, great guy, and actually a friend of I know he and his wife, and he's aware of the song. So well, that's the kind of thing I'm just letting it evolve on its own. But I haven't heard anything yet from those guys, but I hope we do, and I'm hoping Eddie Trunk hears about this song
yeah.
because I co-host with him,
Hmm.
uh, and it would be really cool if something came about with him because I know he loves original music and just doing things the right way. So
Very cool. So, in addition to this album that may or may not happen, what else is on each of your plates for the coming year?
oh, good
The
question.
chance to plug your own work, each of you.
Ken, you go.
Well, okay. Well, we have a Flotsam and Jetsam album that just came out, and we'll be supporting that with continued touring next year. We've got I think our first gig is 70,000 tons of metal, which is interesting. And this is going to be kind of a joke here, but the ship itself is 100 and I think 180 or 160,000 tons. So I'm wondering where all the other tons of metal went. If it's only 70,000 tons, where did the rest of it go? But that's actually a great cruise. It'll be a lot of fun. And then we have some touring coming up after that. We were touring all through the summer and touring Europe and playing a bunch of festivals. So that's really what's coming up next.
Very cool. John, how about you?
Kathy's dragging me around the country, assisting her with hair and makeup. Uh, we got? Well, we're very busy through the holidays. We have 47 gigs, I think, in the next
Wow.
couple months. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Wow.
it's
Great.
insanity. And then I think in early January, I don't even know which month it is right now. Early January is Bubba Bash, correct,
Yes.
Kathy? Okay, we're flying off to
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia,
Yep.
Rocky Balboa,
So John's
and
John's
yeah,
being
go ahead.
he has a guitar shop. a
Oh, I
very
forgot about that tiny
yeah,
little part of my life.
yeah. He
I
actually
have a
has a
guitar
real
shop.
job.
Yeah,
He actually has a real job.
I own a guitar shop in Scottsdale in the old Fifth Avenue shops
Yeah,
there, Old Town by Scottsdale Fashion Square area, you know.
yeah, yeah.
So I talked to Greg Chase on he refers people to me and I refer people to him a lot over there at the place he's at there. And so I have that going on, yes. And we work on a lot of rock stars things and things
Yeah, I
like
bet
that.
you see a bit of Nils Lofgren there too, huh?
I do. He's a very good client, and I actually have checked for him personally.
Wow.
Yeah, and Jeff Beck. He opened for Jeff Beck, and I did that show, and I've been to his house several times. And yeah, We've been working on his stuff for a long time, 30 years. Something. George Benson is
Mm.
another one. Jazz. Yeah, there's a lot of good ones around.
Now, a friend of mine, Andy Timmons, is doing some sort of workshop. Is it in Phoenix,
Oh,
George?
I
Oh,
have not
I
heard
saw
of that.
that. Yeah,
He's
there's
awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
Andy's
Kathy?
great.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that. What he's doing here, though.
I did. I saw the advertisement. It looks really cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like a
Oh,
whole seminar thing.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
supposed to be like, I mean, the names I heard, I forget who they all were, but Andy and uh, George were going to be doing some sort of workshop thing together. And
Oh,
my gosh, to be a fly on the wall there would been, mm, I don't play. I just do a little bit of air guitar and screw that up.
well, yeah. And
Well,
I hope
that's
you do air drums too, because
yeah. Rush bands are known for the air instruments.
for sure.
I wanna specifically say for Ken, because he won't brag about himself, but his Fifth Angel double album is absolutely killer. That's how I originally met him, and I got the album from him, and it's just incredible. And also the Flotsam and Jetsam new album is incredible.
Oh, thank you,
And
Kathy.
yeah, and so people should really go check that out and go follow Ken because he's going to be doing some stuff in 2025 that I think people will find very interesting and cool. But then John and I are flying out to Bubba Bash, and that is actually an event in January that is in honor of Neil, and it's
Right.
put on by this great Rush tribute band called Why Not, and Michael Mosbach, who Neil was Neil's motorcycle riding companion on the tours and very close friend, and did security for those guys. And they put on a really great event to raise money for Cedar Sinai, where they're doing research on the kind of brain cancer that Neil had. So,
Mhm.
so we're doing that in January. John's going to be stage managing. I think he got roped into that,
Oh joy.
and I host it. And then
Then we have the NAM show and Metal Hall of
yeah,
Fame, right?
maybe yeah, we're trying to see what's happening with Metal Hall of Fame in January, and so lots of cool stuff coming up.
Well, I want to say that for all three of you individually, or even as a band together on working with you, Kathy, I want to make sure you guys know my door's always open to you. I'm not
Awesome.
Rolling Stone magazine, thank God,
Oh,
but
that's
I've got, I every little bit of following helps, and I have a pretty good global following. But I would love to just, I love talking shop, behind the scenes type of things. Even though I just like to talk about. I couldn't do any of it to save my life. I'm a business geek at that, but if anything I can do to support the three of you individually or together, please let
Awesome.
me know, and we'll
Oh,
set
thank
up
you so
one of these.
much.
And Ken, especially you've got this album out now. Let's you guys can shoot me a note. My email address is very simple. It's Randy, RANDY at boomerosity.com. Mike, the guy that does all my post production, I hope he deletes that email address from the video. And I get all
Editing.
sorts of, I get wedding marriage proposals and things from all sorts of places. But I'm sure you guys do too. But drop me a note and let's keep this going. And I love what you guys are doing,
Yeah.
and I'd love to do my part to help promote this as well as the stuff you guys are doing individually, because it's great. It spoke to my heart, and just I would be honored to be able to help you guys out any way I can.
Oh,
Awesome.
Thank
that
you
is
so
very
great.
much.
nice.
That's
Thank you so
awesome.
much.
But
Yeah, I love
any-
that.
anything else you guys would like to add about this song and the work coming forward?
Just, I would just encourage everybody to go watch the video on YouTube and watch the whole thing
Yes.
because people have a tendency to click out, if they think they've got the gist of it. This song, you gotta stick to the end because that's where the magic happens, is there's this big shift in the middle. And especially like Ken said, that's where you find a lot of the Easter eggs. So watch the video. We really need people to download it and follow on Spotify and Apple and all the music platforms because that's where we have a great label that really has been super supportive of this song called Deco Entertainment.
Yep.
Uh,
Great label.
yeah, Charlie over there has been wonderful to take a chance on me as an unknown artist. And so we just really want to build this song up so that it's worth their time and so that we can bring the next song to everybody. And so yeah, just download it, follow. Huge props to everybody that worked on the music video and the song. And yeah,
Well, I'll be sharing
Awesome.
it today on the music video on my social media, that both my personal
awesome.
and the Boomerosity one. And also, if you guys don't mind, go ahead and subscribe to that one in the YouTube channel and wherever you listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
But and if you want to friend me personally, I'm the one to use. I've got two out there. One I don't use anymore. The one with two dogs, which is probably a prettier picture than the one with this mug on there, is an old one. So you'll recognize the face when you see the other. And I'm connected to Pratt and all those guys. So
Okay.
let's connect that way. That way, if in case I forget to let you guys know, you can at least see when I post this. This video will probably be a week or so out because we're a little backlogged on the interviews. But and if I can help you guys in any way behind the scenes, knowing somebody or whatever, I'd be delighted to help you guys out.
That's
Thank
so
you so
sweet.
much.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
All right. Well, listen, you guys be safe, be healthy, and I look forward to hearing great things about this song and the album when it comes out. When the album comes out, let's do this again. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Sounds
Absolutely.
good.
All right. Y'all have a great day and we'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Take
You
care.
too.
right.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Have a
Bye.
great day. Bye bye.